Welcome in. It is day 328, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today, we're going to be over a game that, admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of. I've tried the game multiple times, and I don't think I dislike the game. I think what I dislike is that I just never have a chance to play it enough at once. Maybe if I owned this game and had somebody I knew could play with me regularly, it would make a difference. When I watch a video and I see how it's played, when I get to watch, like, by the end of a game that I've played and I start to feel like I'm remembering the mechanics well enough, it seems like a game I should enjoy. But I just don't get excited about it. When I play it, I feel lost. I get crushed. The game is called Race for the Galaxy. Now, the concept of the game is you have 5 different stages, and you're going to get a card for each one. You're actually going to get into those stages 2 different types of cards. You're going to have cards where you're going to be getting additional cards. You're going to have cards where you can build something to your board. You're going to be getting cards where you can produce things. You're going to be cards where you're going to consume things. So you're all going to pick at the same time what you choose to do, and you're going to put it face down. And when everybody who's playing has done this, you flip them face up. Now, there's going to be a main action. So if you and me and somebody else all pick the exact same thing, it doesn't matter. All it means is that that was chosen, and therefore, when you're going from stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, if you've picked the stage 1 card, everybody's going to get that action. However, anybody who's the one who chose it will get a bonus ability with it. So, for instance, one of the cards is, for everybody, you get to draw 2 cards, return 1, and therefore you're adding a card to your hand. Now, there are 2 cards to go with this. One of them says, well, instead of drawing 2, discarding 1, you're going to draw 3 and discard 1. So therefore, you're getting to keep 2. You're only getting to have 1 extra card of option, though. The other one says, well, you're actually going to draw 6 and discard 1. So you have a lot of option. If you're looking for, I've got plenty of stuff to pay out. I just need a specific card. I'm hoping I can get something in that region. I need to get a blue. I need to get a brown, none of which makes sense to you. But you need something specific, I need one of these, maybe there's 7 or 8 cards in the game. That's going to give you a real shot at drawing that card. So that's the type of thing you do. You basically all have the action, and whatever is the person who used it, they're getting a bonus to it. So now, you're going to go through, you're essentially supposed to all go in order, but you tend to kind of go in a circle anyways, just to make sure everybody knows what's going on. You're going to go through all your different actions, and at the end of your turn, you have to make sure that if you had more than 10 cards, you discard down to 10. So you're going to keep doing this until one of 2 things happens. Either somebody has built 12 total cards in their area, or somebody has drawn the last victory point chip, which I believe there are 36 in the game. And when one of those 2 things happens, you finish the round, and then you go and you figure out who wins in total. Now, what kind of things do you have for scoring in this game? So, for instance, you can make basically 2 different kinds of cards. You have your planet cards that when you look at the top corner, it's a circle with a number in it. And then you have the other ones that have a diamond with a number in it. Both of them act the same way as far as how they're made. Inside of the shape, whatever that number is, represents what it costs to make it. In this game, the cards are both what you're trying to build and they are your currency. So if you have a card that has a 4 inside of it, it means you need to place this card down and then discard 4 cards from your hand to make it. Now, there's going to be other cards that'll give you discounts and advantages. So you might find, well, I've been focusing in on making brown planets. And now the brown planets say that when I'm making a brown planet, I get a -2. And now future brown planets are better for you. Great. So now comes the question of, well, what else are you able to do? What is your status setup? The planets have 3 types of planets. If you have a planet that is nothing on the outside, and the planet is white or it's gray, it's basic, meaning when you make it, it cannot produce anything. Then, if you make one, but the color of the planet itself is colored, it means that's a production one, meaning you can never have more than 1 item in it. But when you produce, it says time to produce, you'll grab a card from the top of the deck, you will slip it face down underneath, you don't need to know what it is, it just represents that you've made, if it's a blue planet, a blue card, if it's a brown planet, a brown card, a yellow planet, a yellow card. If you spend it and you produce in the future, you can then refill. Another one would be one of those basic planets, but on the outside there's a ring, a halo of a color. So that's the same idea. If you have a yellow halo compared to a yellow planet, they both make a yellow item. The difference is the halo means you are going to, when you make that card, immediately put a card underneath. It has got a card there, but this is not a production planet. So once that card's been spent, this doesn't produce. The only way that you could ever make something there again is if it specifically stated that one of the Halo-style planets could make something. There are some cards that do this, but it's very limited, whereas you can always produce on the colored planets so long as there's not already an item there. Why do these matter? Because to get these victory points, the physical ones you're putting in front of you, as you make certain cards, they're going to say, okay, it's time to spend, consume essentially, and you're going to now look and say, okay, well, this one says if I have a blue planet, I can spend it for either 2 money or maybe it's a victory point. You know, it'll give you options of types of stuff depending on what you have. Now you have to choose how to allocate what you have. So you might have 3 cards, a blue, and a brown. And you might have 4 different consume actions. One of them might say for yellow. Well, you don't have a yellow, not even an option. Another one says a brown. Okay, I have a brown, but it only allows you 1 time. So you can spend 1 of your browns. It says you get to immediately get a victory point. You grab it. You might have another one that says you can spend anything you want, but it's going to be for money. So maybe $1 for a yellow, $2 for a blue, $3 for a brown, $4 for a red, I think is the 4th one. And you go, well, I have this other brown. I don't have any way to use it. I'm going to spend it here. I'm going to get $3. Now, $3, remember, currency is cards, means you drop 1, 2, 3 cards off the deck, add it to your hand. You don't know what it is. You don't get choices. You just draw the top 3. And then maybe the last one says, okay, you have a blue. It says discard a blue, just immediately draw 2 cards. Okay, there you go. You've now done your consume actions. You're good. Now, if you didn't have a blue, even though you had a whole bunch of different types of things to spend out, you might have ended up spending both of your browns. You didn't have a yellow to spend on the spend action for yellow. You didn't have a spend action to use your blue. That's unfortunate. You didn't build a good enough mechanism. So these are the basics. There's a lot more to this. This is a game all about trying to not only allocate your resources, but also judge how to respond to what your opponents are doing. Almost every card has 2 in the entire deck, but you can only build 1 of it. So you have to be aware if somebody builds something and you're making something that needs that, you're 1 down. There's only 1 more out there. Has it already been spent? You don't know what people have spent as their currency. Those are face down in a discard pile. So if that's where it is, it's unlikely you're going to get back to it. So you have to be trying your best to figure out how to manage not only your hand, your cards, but pay attention to your opponents and see how to counter that. Well, why don't we jump in? Let's talk our 7 categories and see where this game lands for us. When it comes to the art, again, I don't hate this game. I want to like this game. I've just had bad experiences. But when it first was brought to my attention, I was grabbed. I liked the box. I liked the cards, the setup, the art. It sells space. It sells planets. It sells building up, an army if you want to go in the direction of your warfare, which I didn't explain before. Warfare is, no matter what everything else is for a planet card, it is a very thin red line either around the planet or around the number. So yes, there are things that I could do for looking at this art and thinking this looks fun. I always think the game looks fun. I have no complaint about that. It's a thumbs up. Your components. Your components are primarily your cards, which I think are very good cards. These are top-level card stock. They're not going to wear at all. There's a risk you could tear it, but it's not a normal risk. I think this is a high-level card made that is terrible if you are purposely trying to tear the card. But I don't think you're going to catch and rip this easily. I don't think you're going to rough up the edges that easily. I think these cards are made to last. So I think those are great. And then the only other real piece in the game is the cardboard pieces that represent your victory points. And those are a good cardboard. Thumbs up. Your price. This is still an extremely available game. You're going to find this in most board game stores. I'd say minimum 3, possibly 4 out of 5. You're going to find this online, and it's not that expensive. It probably goes for about $40. It's a good game. I think that it's one that if you're into sci-fi, space, planets, spaceships, all that kind of stuff, sure, it's good. I think if you're into tableau building, cards, trying to be able to really know that there's a limited amount of resources and cards, and that whatever your opponents are doing is limiting what you can do. I like a game like that. I think that this one is really worthwhile for its price. Thumbs up. Your difficulty. Again, I don't hate this game, but I personally have found it to be difficult. Now, I don't think it's difficult in a normal, everybody's going to find this difficult way. I think this is one of those specific types of people. I like the concept of the game, but I think for me, because I tend to lean in the direction of a worker placement, I like to lean in the direction of a bag builder or a deck builder. Those kind of games don't really relate to this one. So for me, it's hard not playing this style game very often to be able to remember what all the symbols are, remember what's a good strategy compared to a bad strategy, understand when an opponent does something, how that's probably going to affect the odds of my strategy, and maybe I need to change it. I don't play this style game enough to be able to adapt very well, and that's why I don't have a good time. But I don't think this is a game that requires you to have to play the game nonstop to learn it. So I think this is one that I would say experts will greatly enjoy, experienced will greatly enjoy, and even beginners will enjoy it. Not all beginners, and even some kids will enjoy it, but not all kids. I think that you're probably, if you're looking at, how many out of 5, 1 out of 5 kids will probably enjoy this game. I think kids are a little young. It can be a little tough. Then you jump in and you go, well, what about a beginner? And I go, 3 out of 5 can enjoy it. Because I think this is a game that's going to hit, and people are going to enjoy it. And there's enough people who like this game that this isn't rare. And then once you get to experienced and experts, the likelihood is most will enjoy it, unless you're a type that just knows it's not your area. I want to learn this game. I just know I need to make more of an effort to play it a bunch, and that'll help me. And I know a lot of people out there say, if I need to play a game 4 or 5 times so I can start to enjoy it, I don't want to play the game. That's fine. I get that. I personally don't mind making the effort if I see that I feel the game is good. This is just one that I feel I haven't made the effort up until now because I know my wife would not enjoy the game. I know that my family would not enjoy the game. And I know that my friends who are not board gamers wouldn't enjoy the game. So for me, this is a game that I need to have an opportunity to say to my board game group, hey, you're going to pick it on your week. I'll pick it on my week. Will somebody else pick it like either the week before or after the two of us so that we can get 3 weeks in a row, and that might help me get there. It just hasn't come up yet, especially because I'm picking new games all the time. This game is just not one that I've pulled out again to request, but it is one that I think in another few months I might make that effort to try to play this 3 weeks in a row and feel like I understand it better. For me, though, I look at it and say that the difficulty has to be a thumbs up. Replayability. It can go a little long, but I think most people can play this 2 times in a row. I think that for a normal game night, if you're looking at 2 to 3 hours for your average game night, you can get in 2 plays of this. And I think that the people who like it, they know you can play this game at a good count of 3 people. You don't have to play 4 or 5. 3 is acceptable. So it means you have a more opportunity to get this to the table because it is fun at 3, it is fun at 4, it is fun at 5. So I think there is replayability here. Thumbs up. Keys to victory. So this is up to how you build. There are dozens, if not at least 100 keys to victory, up to how you choose to say, I'm going to target making blue planets, brown planets, yellow planets. I'm going to make the halo planets so that I just get immediate spend and then I'm not worrying about other planets. I'm going for the diamonds. I'm going to go for the warfare. I'm going to go for trying to make sure that I have a nice mixture of stuff. I want to make sure I have more bonuses, so I'm not worrying about specifically if it's a planet or whatever it may be. I'm worrying about what kind of a bonus I get when an action is picked. There's a lot of ways to go with this. I think that gives it a lot of malleability to allow you to go in there and really flex through your game. You're going for 12 cards. Usually the cards is what ends this game. So the odds are that when you're 4 cards in, you can still completely change your strategy and adapt to something new if you feel it's not really working. Either the cards you were hoping to gather haven't come in, or the way you thought it was going to help you has been countered because somebody's doing what you're doing better, or you just notice that other people have grabbed a few of your key cards and you go, well, I really wanted one of these 3 cards. There's 2 of each of them, so that's 6. I've noticed that both of these cards, one of them and one of them have each made it. This card was made by him and this card was made by him. So I'm down to just one of each of these potentially out there. This one's gone. I'm going to abandon ship. So I think you can change as you go. That's a huge piece to this. So for me, keys to victory, thumbs up. Is the game unique? I do not think the game's unique. I think that it stands out at times, but they already have made another game called Roll for the Galaxy. Different, but the same concept. You can compare this to a game like I've gone over before, like Progress Evolution of Technology. The idea of the cards count as both the currency and the card. You're making cards to advance and make your big tableau. There's a lot of tableau builders. I just feel like there's a lot going on that this game has that just other games replicate enough of it that it doesn't stand out that much. Now, is this the best one of its type? I think that if you were to go into any convention, any board game store, and ask anybody who plays tableau builders to rank them, this game is probably the overall arcing number one in most people's minds. And that's great. But just because it's the best of what it does doesn't mean it's necessarily unique. And to me, I can't just look at this and really say it's unique. Thumbs down. Overall, what do I think? I know I'm not a huge fan. I've had bad experiences with this in the past. But I think this is a fantastic game, and that if you have a chance, give it a try. It's not going to hit for everybody, and it may be a game that you try it, and you want to love it, and you just don't. And that's okay. Or it might be a game that you play it, and you're not having a great time, but you feel like there's a breakthrough opportunity, that there is a chance for you to really enjoy it. It just hasn't clicked quite right with you yet, but you see there's something to click. It's okay. Games like this happen. Give it a try, see what you think, and don't be afraid to keep trying and give a game a couple plays because you feel like there's something else there. Well, it has been day 328, and we've been speaking about the game Race for the Galaxy. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. And don't forget to check me out on Board Game Arena under the name The Meeples Champion. I can play games with you. I can take on friend requests if you send them my ways. I'm on once or twice a day. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.